What's up, guys? Welcome back to Red Goat Garage. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button for me really quick. Today I'm working on my 66 Chevelle, so I haven't done a lot of stuff on this, but today I'm actually doing a little upgrade to it. So let me show you what I'm going to be doing here. Let me turn the camera around. All right, so one of the last things I did on this car was install this Torqstorm Supercharger, and with that I built a whole new engine and I did a whole bunch of upgrades all at once, but that was kind of like one of the main upgrades. Now with that, because now it is forced induction, this intake under load, or above a certain RPM range, is obviously under pressure instead of under vacuum. Now what I didn't realize, I mean, I knew that, but one of the issues I didn't realize was my crankcase ventilation, like the PCV system, whatever you want to call it. And I actually had this over at the tuners, and he started up and it blew out a bunch of smoke out of the exhaust, and he was like, man, what's up with that? And so he started looking at it and realized that I still had the PCV crank system hooked up like it would if it was totally vacuum operated, not if it has a blower on it, right? And so basically how it was working was, off the back of the intake, a hose would come over to this little catch can, and then it would go back right here to this fitting on the valve cover. And so in short, what was happening is when this Torqstorm would produce boost, it was pressurizing that whole catch can and pressurizing the crankcase, so it was forcing oil, I guess, past the rings or whatnot. I'm not really sure what's happening on the inside, but basically every few times I would start it up, it would blow out some smoke, and then it was clear up and it would be fine. So what ended up saving it was that on this side there's actually just a filter back here, so it was able to vent off that side, but then I was still losing pressure through the supercharger. So what I'm going to do today though is fix this issue once and for all, and I got a kit from Holley, and it's got to be the easiest thing I've ever seen, that it'll actually replace the oil cap and then allow me to plumb in a crankcase or like a catch can like this, but with the breather on top. So let me get those parts laid out and I'll show you exactly how it looks. All right, so this is the kit that I actually ordered from Holley, and I'll put the part number here on the screen for you so you can check that out. But this is what I actually saw them post on their social media, was this piece here, and I was going to order this and then try to figure all this out myself, and then I saw they had a whole kit, makes it even easier. So this is actually a little breather that goes in place of the factory oil fill cap. And this only, I shouldn't say factory, this kit is only for the Holley LS valve covers that they sell, the ones that I have on the Chevelle there. So I mean, obviously there's probably a million people that have them, so there's a lot of people that can use this kit, but even still, I think they make this for a different application too, but this one's for the Holley valve cover. So you can see there's a bunch of little holes here at the end, and there's some baffling in there and everything. So this will allow it to vent, but no oil to come up. Got a couple fittings, some AN hose from Mr. Gasket. This guy here will screw into the bottom here, and it has a little thing here where you can undo this to drain out the oil that if any accumulates in here. This guy here, big old, I think this stuff's like -10 or something like that, but it's all the nice Earl stuff, and that'll go in there. And then lastly, obviously the actual like catch can itself, aluminum, so this thing's super lightweight, and it's got the nice breather on top to expel all them fumes and stuff. So let's get started. Let me go over there, and we're going to start with this guy first, and then we'll just kind of start putting all the rest of these pieces together to kind of complete the puzzle. Probably honestly the hardest part is just going to be mounting this, but I think what I'm going to do is just mount it right where the other one was at, just to make it easy. So let's get started. All right, so first need to get the other oil fill cap off. So there's that one. I'll keep this guy though, because that was kind of one of my ideas too, is to tap that, but keep that one. And I went ahead and screwed in this AN adapter fitting here into this new oil cap. So I just did it by hand, so it's hand tight. So I figured that way if I need to add oil or anything, then I can just undo this by hand. Plus there's not really pressure coming through here, it's just venting more than anything. I wanted to show you guys this too really quick. So this was a breather that I bought years ago to use on this one before, when I had the LS3 and it was naturally aspirated. I was having some issues with that, which turned out to be much larger ring issues, but I still had this. But this guy just screwed right into there. It replaced the factory oil fill cap also. And it worked, I guess, but it just looked terrible. And obviously the other thing is now this AC compressor is right here, so it won't fit. So that's why I'm going to use this new Holley kit. But this is another option that's out there. I can't even remember where I bought this from now, but this will be a much nicer, much more cleaner, professional look with this new Holley kit. So what I'm going to do next is pop off the all this stuff that was on here originally and get the other catch can removed. All right, so this guy I would imagine is supposed to be straight up and down, but I don't really have anywhere to mount it straight up and down. So I'm going to kind of mount it at an angle like this. So it'll kind of be like at a 15-degree angle or so. And I think that'll work. And you can see I have like the 90-degree on here. I have the straight over there because I was kind of test fitting. So I think what I'm going to do here is, this is the bracket that I made to hold the old catch can. So it actually mounted kind of like that. So I think what I'm going to do is flip it around, but I'm going to bend it to where it'll sit kind of like that, and then mount it down, and then I can mount the catch can to that. So yeah, I'm going to go bend this and mount the catch can to it, and then I can bolt it down there, and then should be just about done with this. All right, so I got this guy all mounted up. You can see it's got two self-tappers there, and there's a couple underneath. This guy's bent at an angle there. So like I said, I'm sure this should probably be straight up and down or for optimal performance, but I think for what I'm doing, it'll be fine. So the next thing I'm going to do here is plumb the actual hose from there to this cap, and then I'll be done. So I'm going to see, I might route it here and around, or I might just come up and over. I'm going to see how the hose lays and which way it looks better. They gave you like 3 feet of hose, so there's, you know, you can really go far with this, mount it where you want. So but yeah, this works pretty good. It's pretty sturdy there. I didn't even use the 2 holes on this side, but just the 2 right there. I mean, it might vibrate a little bit, but it's not going to go anywhere. So let me figure out this hose situation, and that'll be about the last step. All right, so I just got to put the hose ends on here, but I wanted to quickly show you guys how that works. It's pretty darn simple. So here's the end, here's the hose, right? Where my hose at? All right, this slides off or unthreads. It's a fine thread, and you can see it has threads in there. And on this end, where the hose actually goes in, there's actually kind of like some grooves in there as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to just take this, and it's important too when you're cutting the hose, wrap tape around it and do it properly, because you don't want any edges or anything sticking up. So I just push it on here and kind of twist and push down at the same time. And I don't know if you can see in there, probably not because it's dark, but basically there's at the bottom of the threads where this would thread in, the fine threads in this fitting, you want the hose to come up to the bottom of that. So it's, you know, right about in the middle here or so. is where you want. And before you go just shoving this in here, you're going to want to get some Earl's assembly lube, but I would imagine any lightweight engine oil would work as well, but I like to use the proper stuff for every task for the most part, although I'm going to contradict myself here in a second when you'll see next. So I get the oil on there, kind of move it all around. It helps from these threads galling up, but also it helps this piece slide into the inside of the hose there. So next, I just kind of push this in gently and start pushing down and twisting until the threads start to engage, and then you just keep twisting. Now, when I'm doing this, I also will keep a finger right here in between this fitting and the hose. And the reason I do that, because if you're tightening down and this fitting is pushing the hose out, then it's never going to seal. So that hose needs to be fully engaged in order for it to seal. So this is where I'm going to contradict myself. I'm actually just using a pair of regular crescent wrenches here instead of using actual AN wrenches, which Earl's does have also. I just don't have them in this big of a size. But so as I'm kind of tightening this down, I'm just feeling and making sure that that's not pushing out that hose. Once you get down so far though, it's probably never going to push out. Just kind of the beginning stages there. So let me tighten this all the way down here. And you really want this fitting butting up against the other one. You don't want it to be away from it at all, because it needs to be tight. What it's doing when you're tightening this down is this male fitting goes inside the hose and it's pushing out up against this female fitting. So it's basically pinching that hose in between the two fittings, and that's how it forms a good seal. Now this stuff here is obviously just for this breather setup, so not super crucial, but this is the same fittings and styles that I've used for my fuel lines and vacuum lines and everything else, so you want to make sure you get it proper. So like I said, you pretty much want this butting up against it, make sure that still spins around, and that's really it. So let me get on the car here and we'll install this guy. Alright, so just got the fittings on there that you saw, and now I need to actually mount this hose. So what I ended up deciding to do is I just left it all of its 3-foot length, and I'm just gonna run it and tuck it around the excess underneath the fender here and go to this, because I figured if I went up and over, it wouldn't look as clean, but two, it's got to be pushing it up, and I don't want any kinks in it, and it might rub the bottom of the hood or something like that. So let me get this all going here. While I'm doing this, I'm going to kind of tighten it down, just snug, but I'm not going to go all the way down, so that way it'll rotate on me really nicely still. And once I get them both threaded, kind of where I want them, then I'll tighten them down. Okay, so that's on there. So I'm going to take this, snug that. And I'm going to snug it over here, but again, I might just do it finger tight so that way I can pop it off if I ever need to add oil. Okay. All right, so it's all finished up there. Just kind of putting more potatoes in an overstuffed sack already, but I like it. So it looks good. I'm happy to know that, too, I'm not going to have any issues with oil coming out the rings or anything like that, or screwing up my engine. All in all, though, this whole setup probably took me maybe an hour at the most to do. And you can do this however you want. Like I said, this was a kit that Holley offered, and that's what I went with just to make it all easy. But you know, really any hose and fitting combination you want will work. The trick piece though was that oil fill cap adapter, and then this actual breather adapter or setup here too. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next video.